Welcome, traveler. You have come to the sunlit hills of the 5th century BCE Attica, where you keep bees among thyme and stone, and gather honey for the hearth and the gods. The dawn is soft upon your skin as you wake, long before the city below begins to stir. A cool breeze floats in through the open doorway, bringing with it the scent of crushed olives and dry earth. You rise slowly from your woven mat, feeling the firmness of the floor beneath your bare feet, the gentle ache of well-used limbs waking once again to the rhythms of the land. Your home is small. Walls of sun-bleached clay, a hearth, a bench, shelves lined with ceramic jugs. Simple things, quiet and sufficient. Outside, the hills slope gently down toward olive groves and fig trees, and farther still, to the blue shimmer of the Aegean beyond the city. But up here, where the air is clean and the morning birds begin their songs in the thickets, the world still belongs to sleep. You light a small fire in the hearth with practiced ease, coaxing sparks from flint and twigs, adding a pinch of dried sage to scent the smoke. The kettle warms over the flame as you step outside to greet the day. The sky is a pale, endless expanse, kissed pink at the edges. You stretch beneath it, slowly, breathing in the scent of wild herbs that grow in knots along the hillside. Thyme, oregano, lavender, and fennel. Your bees know them all. They weave from bloom to bloom, their paths invisible to the eye but as orderly as any road in Athens. You take your breakfast in silence, a slice of barley bread softened in warm goat's milk, a few figs from the clay bowl by the door. And then, you gather your tools. The smoker carved from olive wood, the soft linen veil, the thin knife you use to coax wax from its resting place. You carry a basket on your hip, its weave as familiar as your own hands. The apiary lies just beyond the edge of the grove, sheltered by low stone walls and framed by cypress and myrtle. The hives themselves are old, some passed down from your father, others made by your own hands. They are simple coils of straw and clay, nestled beneath overhanging branches to shield them from the sun. Bees drift around them like thoughts, buzzing softly in the cool light. You pause before entering. It is a quiet custom, one you never ignore, to speak gently to the bees, even if only in thought, to greet them with respect. Good morning, little ones. You move slowly among the hives, listening. Each one has its own voice, its own rhythm. Some hum with activity, others sleepier, their entrances still shaded. You crouch beside one that's grown heavy with honey, pressing your ear near the wall. Inside, the world is alive with movement. A soft collective murmur of wings and warmth and purpose. You light your smoker with dried sage and lavender, letting the fragrant smoke drift toward the hive. It calms them, they say, slows their wings, eases their instinct to protect. You never take more than your share. The bees give freely, but they are not yours to command. With the knife, you gently lift away a section of comb, golden and dripping. It smells of sun-warmed flowers, of thyme suspended. The honey clings thickly, glinting in the light. You place it in the basket, careful not to crush the wax, and whisper a soft word of thanks. You move hive to hive in this way, unrushed. Sometimes you pause to watch them, how they land so delicately, how their legs brush against the stamens of wildflowers, gathering the invisible grains of a new harvest. Their lives are small and miraculous. You learn from them, daily. By the time you've visited each hive, the sun is higher, and the city below begins to stir. You can just make out the thin smoke rising from Athenian hearths, the faint sound of a lyre drifting up from a shepherd's camp, the bleating of goats in a nearby pasture. But here, your world remains hushed and golden. You carry the full basket back to your house and lay the comb on a stone slab. With a small clay bowl beneath, you let the honey drip, slow and amber, pooling with a sound like the ticking of water from a cave. The wax you'll save for candles and seals. The honey will sweeten bread, heal wounds, and be poured as offering at the small shrine beside your door. You wash your hands and face with rainwater from a jar, the chill of it waking your skin. Then, from a shelf above the hearth, you take a simple ceramic cup and fill it with a spoon of warm honey and a little spring water. Stirred, it becomes golden and smooth. You sip it slowly, letting its warmth spread through your chest. Later, you may walk down into the city to sell or trade. You may visit the apothecary to offer beeswax, or the priestess of Demeter to share a jar for the coming festival. But not yet. For now, you sit in the doorway with your drink, eyes half closed, listening to the soft hum of bees drifting through thyme. A breeze stirs the herbs, and a cicada sings somewhere in the stones. The day has only begun, and already it is enough. By the time the sun has crested the hills fully, the honey is cooled and sealed, tucked into small clay amphorae with lids made of waxed linen. Each vessel bears a simple mark, a bee with outstretched wings, incised with a stick while the wax is still soft. It is not for vanity. It is for memory. So you'll know which jars came from spring, which from midsummer, which from the soft fading days of fall. You place 3 of these amphorae in your carrying net, padding them with a twist of straw. The rest will wait in the shade of your pantry shelves, lined neatly alongside jugs of olive oil, pickled garlic, and the dried herbs of previous seasons. Today, you decide, is a market day. You wrap a fresh linen cloth about your shoulders and fasten it with a wooden pin. There's a slight breeze as you descend the stone path that winds through your hillside, down past the goat pens, through the scrub of flowering fennel and spindly pines. The earth is warm beneath your sandals, even in the shade. The city is not far. Just a gentle walk, no more than an hour. Especially when the sky is clear and the cicadas sing in rhythm with your steps. You pass neighbors tending to olive trees, a boy chasing chickens past a broken wall, and 2 older women stooped in a patch of chickpeas, their chatter drifting up into the air like bird song. You nod, greet. Pause for a moment to smile, but do not linger. Everyone knows who you are, the one with the bees in the hills, the one who brings honey that tastes of lavender and stone. As the city draws nearer, the buildings grow closer and the air shifts. The smells change too, charcoal and bread, pressed olives, damp stone and wool. Athens is many things, sharp and noble, restless and sun-warmed. But you always carry a stillness with you from the hills, a kind of silence that seems to follow even as the streets fill with noise. The agora is already humming by the time you arrive. Merchants call out their wares in rich voices, fresh fish, folded cloth, pots of lentils and onions. Flutes play nearby, and children dart between stands with sticky hands and crumbs on their tunics. You move through them easily, a familiar figure, neither hurried nor lost. At a stall near the temple columns, you lay out your jars. The pottery shines softly in the light, and when a breeze moves through, the scent of honey mingles with the dust. It doesn't take long for the first patron to approach, an older man with papyrus under one arm and ink stains on his fingers. A scholar, perhaps, or a scribe. He tastes the honey, nods slowly, and leaves with 2 jars tucked in a sling at his side. Others follow. A woman with a baby tied to her back, a younger man asking if the wax is fresh enough for sealing scrolls, an acolyte in pale robes seeking honey for ritual bread. You answer softly, hands steady, the weight of the jars lightened one by one. You trade some for dried dates, for a small wedge of cheese wrapped in fig leaf, for 2 sprigs of fresh rosemary. Coins are exchanged too, warm from pockets, etched with owls and laurels. But it is never about the coin. It is about the circle, the giving, the returning. The way your bees gather from the wild and return it, transformed. By midday, your basket is empty. You take what you've earned and sit beneath a low wall in the shade of an old fig tree, its trunk twisted like a braid. Here, at the edge of the agora, the noise softens. You eat your cheese and bread slowly, sip a little water, and watch the bustle of the city as though from a distance. It is a living thing, Athens, always moving, always speaking. But you prefer its edges, the quiet between its stones. After a while, you walk through the marketplace once more, stopping briefly at the altar of Hestia to leave a small pinch of dried thyme and a drop of honey from your pouch. A simple offering. For warmth, for home, for fire that stays lit. Then you begin the walk back. The afternoon sun casts long shadows on the path, and your basket is light now, carrying only rosemary, dates, and a small folded parcel of beeswax. The breeze follows you, rustling low in the shrubs and setting off a burst of petals from a sleeping almond tree. By the time you reach your hillside again, the bees are in full chorus. You stop just short of the apiary to listen, really listen, to the rise and fall of their notes, the great invisible song of the day's work still unfolding. It's like hearing the breath of the earth itself, steady and full. You step quietly into their space and watch them in the slanting light. Some return with their legs dusted yellow with pollen. Others guard the entrances, alert but unbothered. The air hums with peace. You step inside. The house smells faintly of smoke and clay and honey. You sit by the hearth, unwrap your market goods, and light a single beeswax candle. The flame is small, but it burns steady, just like the day.